for clean 2-0s.
Radiant team ban.
Now I think we have established that Chinese teams, compared to the Southeast Asian teams that we're used to seeing, I think it's fair to say that they do play somewhat differently, perhaps draft a bit differently, as well as build their heroes
5
a
seconds
bit differently
remaining.
in terms of the item choices. But as it stands, we're going to be opening up with SAG picking up the Phoenix Mars, a fairly powerful team fight combination. But interestingly enough, Forest have not countered it with the traditional heroes such as Snapfire or Mirana. Both supports can take down the Phoenix Egg very easily. Instead, picking up 2 supports off their own, now showing 2 supports
Seconds remaining.
in the first phase does limit you somewhat
5
later on in the
seconds
draft.
remaining. Radiant team ban.
And some teams deliberately, when they go for this sort of draft, they pick heroes along the lines of a Lina, along the lines of a Snapfire that can be flexible in certain roles, and that just
10
gives them
seconds
more
remaining.
options later on.
5 seconds remaining.
Now with the Lich, you are generally looking for a melee carry, and that's why SAG are banning out all of these melee heroes. As for Forest, taking out the Faceless Void does make a lot of sense. Just adding to that team fight, it's a great combination with the Phoenix.
10
And the
seconds
Undying is a hero who can struggle sort of in the mid to late game.
5 seconds remaining.
But when you have a nice setup, such as the Phoenix, such as the Mars, that can allow your Tombstone to do a lot. Sort of if the enemy is trapped inside the arena, but they actually can't take down the Tombstone because they have to worry about the Phoenix.
Dire team pick.
Elder Titan going to be coming out here again, just adding to that team fight power. A very good way to protect the Phoenix Egg. If enemies are just standing still hitting them,
5 seconds remaining.
it's a very easy way to get a big stomp.
5 seconds remaining.
Then you have the magic damage amplification, which is pretty nice with Phoenix. But the Magnus coming out here. So it looks like Forest are looking to match teamfight with teamfight. And this does open up the draft to certain heroes. Again, it's fairly obvious that Forest are going to be going with a melee hero.
5 seconds remaining.
I'm probably looking at a Phantom Assassin, maybe a Juggernaut, maybe a Troll.
Dire team pick.
Storm Spirit.
Storm Spirit coming out. This is a very interesting one. Actually, this does not strike me as a good Storm Spirit game. Storm Spirit does well when there are low lockdown heroes, but the Rubik as well as the Lich are pretty good when it comes to locking down a Storm. There's no projectile, there's no cast time on the Rubik lift. And likewise with the Lich, it's a point and click spell with no projectile. So this Storm Spirit pick, I think, might struggle. Phantom Assassin coming out is no surprise. PA surprisingly good against the Storm Spirit as well,
Remaining.
because a lot of Storm Spirit's damage coming from the Overload especially
Remaining.
does not give you True Strike, so
Dire
you
team
can be susceptible to the evasion. And it's not like you ever want to build an MKB on a Storm Spirit. Generally speaking, your late game solution is going to come in the form of a full Blood Form. You can argue, SAG, they've just got so much team fight, all they need is someone to come in and clean up.
10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
And I can support that theory. Forest seem to think so as well. Taking out the Spectre, nice hero for chasing down kills after winning team fights. And also pretty good counters as a Phantom Assassin, generally speaking.
Dire team pick.
Forest probably looking for an offlaner.
10 seconds remaining. Radiant team pick.
And it's going to be a Timber, so okay. I mean, you're playing against 3 strength heroes. But they are relatively magic damage heavy. So we're almost certainly going to be seeing a very
10
early
seconds remaining.
Hood coming out from our Timber Sword, just a casual Hood. Just make him a little tankier against magic damage, allow him to sit there and fight.
Your hero.
The Morphling coming out. The Morphling's a relatively greedy hero to be playing, especially against the Timbersoul. And Timbersoul, anyways, is a lane bully, I think we all know that, but Morphling early levels is honestly not that strong. Once you get to level 5 on the Morphling, you're practically impossible to kill, but I feel like getting there might be a bit of a struggle. And so frankly, I mean, the first couple of picks I was on board with for SAG, but their core picks, in my opinion, do get somewhat countered. And so just going off draft, I mean, personally, I'm going to have to favor Forest here.
Prepare for battle.
And fundamentally, we're looking at the PA Magnus combination. We know it's strong. It allows the PA to continue farming, obviously, without that Battle Fury. And that just accelerates the build all the way. You basically skip an item. In this game, getting an early BKB is going to be very important. On the flip side, SAG don't actually have the best tools when it comes to controlling a hero through a BKB. So that BKB power spike can be very important for Forest.
30 seconds to battle.
Lane-wise, it is going to be the Magnus against the Storm Spirit. Often we do see Timber Souls being played in the mid lane against Strength Heroes. And that would be the case if it was the Mars mid, but I think it's fairly obvious picking out the Storm Spirit that you are going to be putting in mid. We'll see how Morphling does. I'm really not expecting him to do well, especially if his lane support is going to be an Elder Titan. And the ET, I don't think can do anything to a Timber Soul. I'm ready to be proven wrong, but we'll see. Dealing a lot of damage here to Yoki, but just sitting in the creeps, and again, that's just the power of his Timber Soul against the Strength Hero. I really don't know what they were expecting there, frankly. 2 Whirling Deaths, and that's literally half your HP gone. The first Whirling Death is obviously very painful, but the second Whirling Death even more so because their strength already has been reduced. And normally it's quite hard to get 2 Whirling Deaths in a row because the enemy will just disengage, but really committing there on the Elder Titan. And now we're level 2, Solon. He's just going to be able to bully here. Phantom Assassin going in, flyby. Somewhat low. We'll see if they can actually finish this off, and with Frost Blast, yes they can. So that's 2 lanes going very well here for Forest. And generally speaking, Mars, I mean, we do consider him to be a strong laner. But you do have to use your spells well. Often if you use the spear and you can't actually pin them, there's just a bit of damage and the enemy can often trade from there. Mid lane does seem to be going better for SAG. Storm Spirit generally does win most melee matchups, but then you have to be careful about that skewer. And Storm, yes, you're a ranged hero, but you have to get close in order to use a Static Remnant. Bottom lane, at least our Morphling is able to farm. But I think once we hit level 3 on Solon, no matter which ability he goes for, it could just max out the armor, could just get a point into the Timber Chain and be even more mobile. I think our Morphling really going to struggle. Now he does have a whole bunch of stick charges. Pretty much rushing the stick there, and that does make a lot of sense. We'll see if that's enough to keep him alive. Level 3, level 4. Only 2 points into the shift attribute, you can still be taken down. Worth pointing out that both mid laners can jungle very efficiently. And that generally is better for the Radiant side. Just because you have easy access to camps. But then again, it's not terrible for the Magnus. Arguably better at taking down big stacks because you don't have to care about the magic resistance. I've got the 4-minute runes coming up. Both mid laners with bottles, that's going to be very important. But the absence of a support in the top lane, Phoenix trying to contest. Kaigo is playing on very low HP. He will not be able to commit for the kill. With that Fairy Fire, surviving on flyby, using a salve, but this is all very costly. This is a lot of resources down the drain. Now Kaigo just healing up here. September has to be careful because although it's hard to kill him with right clicks when those spirits are up, if he doesn't land his spirits, he's a very low armor hero. Storm Spirit able to nab a regen rune, that's a very big win for him. He's going to be hitting level 6 very soon. He's going to be able to use this regen to farm up a nice stack here. going to be able to pick up the bounty rune as well. Not that he particularly needed the bottle refill. We actually see some teams in this situation just save the bounty rune for later. Skewer going to be interrupting XCJ, and well, he doesn't stand much of a chance there. Once again, it's against that Timber Soul. As such an effective hero against strength. But hey, despite all the deaths, at least your Morphling's doing well. In fact, he's going to be going for Hand of Midas, so a very greedy build coming out here. Morphling, generally speaking, is a greedy hero anyway, but I mean, this is greed on greed. But he is level 5, and that's the point where, you know, even a Timber Soul just doesn't have the burst damage to take you down. Or rather, if he doesn't burst you down, which is not impossible, but if he can't burst you down, you're just going to turn his strength too fast for him to actually kill you. I really do have to respect the damage that can come out, though. So Morphling very wisely turning into a bit of strength. And he could just head into the jungle and that'd be perfectly fine. Then again, do you want to give a Timber Soul a free lane? Often Timber Soul, he has a free lane anyways. I've got level 6 here, both our mid laners. It is possible for kills to happen. And looks like we're going for it now. At D-Stones. Just poking. Does have a bit of a CS lead, but a lot of that did come from the easy camp, and those are relatively low value CSs. But he is slightly ahead in net worth as well. Well, as the Storm Spirit, I would argue that you're better roaming early on, whereas the Magnus is generally just looking for farm. And once again, okay, using the RP for that one, I'm not too sure was necessary. They had the means to interrupt the stomp anyway. But since he has the Arcane Rune, it's actually not that big of a loss. I do like this though. We're seeing a lot of stacks, but we're also seeing SAG trying to contest them. Of course, just putting the Elder Tyson in there, it didn't work out for them before, so there's no reason it would work out this time around. ET does seem a bit lost, frankly. You know, he knows he can't do that much in lane, and so he's sort of wandering around in the mini jungle and just dies. And so then now he's gotten to that big bad bully status. He's gonna be cutting down the trees, and I think this is the cue for the Morphling to leave lane. If you want to get that Midas, you really can't afford to die. That's fine. Up top lane, Stomp going to be coming out here. But Kaigo's still quite healthy, a bit low in mana. With loss coming in, numbers still not in their favors. I don't think they can turn around, but it does feel like SAG are trying a lot of tricks, and they're just not working. It's not that they're not going for plays. And so then look at this. He's actually down a level. But what does it matter? You're just a Timber Soul. You're so strong at this point in the game. And by forcing the Morphling away, it means that a lot of EXP would have been wasted on their tower. That's why we see the Phoenix TPing down bottom just to soak up that EXP. And Phoenix a hero who does need a lot of levels. And Morphling, I mean, he can head into the jungle fine. That's why I'm kind of surprised he decided to sit there in lane and actually try and contest the Timber Soul. And as we saw, that, I mean, he didn't even have a hope.
Middle tower is under attack.
But Solan, of course, he's not going to mind the matchup into the Phoenix. He doesn't need to right-click the Phoenix. Attack speed slow does not mean anything to him. And the Phoenix, for whatever reason, is a strength hero. Feels like an int hero, plays like an int hero, but is actually strength. The top lane, SAG, bringing in 2 cores here, unable to find any kills, which is ideal, but at least they'll be able to take down this tower. And Storm Spirit, he's actually second in net worth, only just behind. And he's going to be going for the Kaya. And Kion Storm is sort of the most neutral choice. If you go for an Orchid, that's a very aggressive choice. If you go for the Yules, that's a very defensive choice. And frankly, there isn't too much room for any other items. Solon, again, under the tower, he does not care about right clicks. September does have the Icarus dive to get out. And bringing in the Storm Spirit, can they actually take down Solon once and for all? He's very strong against physical damage. He is healing up, and he will actually fall there. The combined magic damage of the Phoenix was enough. Magnus with a DD as well as an Invis. This is obviously a very nice setup. If they can chain stun the Storm, and the Storm, he's not too healthy on mana here. We're going to be seeing that RP. But where's the lift? There's no lift. Yoki? Yoki? I mean, that was a kill for sure. Look at how low the Storm Spirit is, but Yogi dropping the ball for whatever reason. I think just the cast range, something along those lines, the pathing got funny, and that's a very big kill to be missing out on because you used the RP. And all of a sudden, Storm Spirit top of net worth, that's because he was able to take down the Timbersaw. Timbersaw being the one on Forest who's competing for that. Of course, immediately after the Storm, we've got our Morphling who has picked up that Hat of Midas. And it is actually a bootless Midas. But greed is good. Again, we're seeing... hold on, that bullet. Very aggressive egg. Very aggressive ball in. But it doesn't seem like they have any answer. Trapped inside the arena, they have no way to take down the Phoenix egg. Now, buyback here from the Elder Titan. We'll see if that's actually necessary. Solon coming in. I mean, he is the big bad raid boss. And Forest, surprisingly, despite that looking very bad, they were able to disengage. This time we will be getting a lift, but no chain stun. D-Stone's actually going in, but he doesn't get the Arcane Rune, and that's a lot of mana wasted going in and out for that rune. Very costly mistake there. And now it's only the Strength Heroes left. Solon. We'll see if he continues to dive. Would be a bit risky. Now SAG, obviously that fight started off nicely, but Forest, they were able to disengage. Phantom Assassin was able to blink out to her allies. And now it's Forest looking to get aggressive, looking to whittle down this tier 1 tower. Not the fastest with the Timbersaw, but as long as he's taking tower damage, as long as he's building up the reactive armor stacks, he will be fine. He will be able to tank that indefinitely. Interesting build coming out from our Phantom Assassin, going for the Echo Saber. Not something we see all that often. Does somewhat increase your burst damage, but you actually have a lot of attack speed from the Phantom Strike anyway. So honestly, I don't see any reason why you would go for the Echo Saber over the full Desolator. And if you wanted more attack speed, in my opinion, you might as well go for a Sanjin Yasha. Might as well go for even just the casual Yasha. I think increases your farming speed more than the Echo Saber. But what the Echo Saber does give you, which no other item on the PA can do, is that mana regen. And mana regen can be important on the Phantom Assassin. It is a cheaper alternative in the long run to ferrying out Clarities non-stop. And of course, all of this is made possible because he has the Empower on his team. He doesn't have to go for the Battle Fury, and he's still going to be able to keep up and farm with a Morphling. Now, Morphling has been completely untouched. Ever since he got that Midas, he's going back into the very cost-efficient items, the Treads. And he's going to be going for the E-Blade. And E-Blade on Morphling, I really do like against the Phantom Assassin. It means that the PA cannot touch you whenever she doesn't have BKB, and frankly, you can just use the E-Blade on yourself defensively, and that's not a problem whatsoever. You can even save allies with it. Storm Spirit getting called out in his own jungle. Now that was the Blink RP. Was the Blink RP from Amon, so it's no surprise you get a kill, but Storm Spirit is one of the better kills you can hope for. Without that Storm, pretty hard to fight back. I mean, Elder Titan, as we've been seeing, he has very limited contribution in these team fights, unless his team can get a good setup. Do you really want to go for a full-on fight when you're missing your mid laner? I don't think so. Solon's going to be able to get a lot of free damage out of this tower, but without bringing in the PA, without having the Magnus actually right-clicking it, they don't do it very fast. And now the Storm Spirit has respawned. He's going to be TPing in. We'll see what they can find. And even if they don't find anything, I suppose that's okay because, again, this Morphling is just out of control. Has not been touched. He's got that Midas ticking. Eul Scepter here for the Mars is obviously pretty big, allows them to have a much more reliable setup, and that's something that they have been struggling with so far. Just wading into the fray with a Mars that doesn't have a Eul's or a Blink Dagger, it is hard to get stuns. Often the enemy can react. And we are going to be seeing that Eul's here right now. It is going to be magic damage based if they can take down the Timber Soul, but actually falling to his own spells, that would be quite ironic. He is strength based, but they can burst down the Morphling. Morphling going in a little too deep. The full 5-man rotation, the TP reaction is good here from Forest. Obviously, a few things can kill a Timber Soul as well as a Timber Soul. So the Morphling dealing a lot of damage there, but I guess just not having enough strength morphed in. Just got bursted down. Just got bursted down. Our Magnus with the blink, he's got the RP back up.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
If they want to try and force something, that's absolutely possible. And they have been chipping away at this tier 1 tower for a very long time. Finally, Solin's going to be able to take it. Storm Spirit going in here. Knows that as long as he can cancel the blink, he will be safe against that one, but it's not like he got too much value out of that either. He had a lot of mana and he just TP'd back to base.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack. Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Now we do have the Desolator completed. And they've been holding on to that Blink RP for quite some time. I think Forest going to be going for a very big move out here. We'll see what they can find. Killing the Morphling, killing the Storm Spirit would be ideal. But I think if the smoke breaks onto, say, a Mars, they will take that opportunity. They will be get right onto the Morphling, take him down without any effort. Just running around full agi. He's a little too easy to kill, and Flyby against the might of the Desolator. He's forced to use his Eul's to try and disengage. They will be able to get a very nice stop off into the Phoenix Egg, but the Phoenix Egg looks like they'll be able to focus that down, or not. Just barely popping. One more right click from dying there. But I mean, Forest, it's already a win for them. They forced out so many cooldowns. Now Phoenix will be able to get out with the Sunray TP. But the big kill, I mean, that fight was pretty much over before it started. That fight was won before it started just by bursting down our poor Morphling. And Forest, still holding on to the RP. They could go for more action. They're not going to find anyone just yet.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Morphling actually getting taken down once again, my goodness. That is not great. All this farm, all this time where he's been freely hitting creeps, freely using that Midas, dying 2 times in a row just completely kills that momentum. And now it's PA on top of net worth. Very scary PA buffed up by the Magnus, and they're going to be going for the tier 2 tower bottom. Much faster when the PA is actually here, when the PA is actually attacking it, as opposed to Solin doing his best impression of right-clicking. And again, they're still holding on to that RP. It's going to be used here only onto the Storm Spirit, but if they can get the kill, I think that is decent. They will be able to do that. The counter engaged team fight coming in. Kaigo, no one left there to help him out. So Lin finally going to be joining in against these free strength heroes, but with that healing reduction on him, with the Morphling chasing him, he is going to have to disengage. A lot of cooldowns being expended. Ends up being a core for a core. Bit sloppy from Forest, I think, their positioning, just committing a little too hard on the Storm when they didn't have anyone to protect their Phantom Assassin, and I think that play is fine if your PA backs off, if your PA doesn't get cooled. Without the BKB, flyby here, going to be healed up under the tower, but he will still get bursted down, and it's very easy pickings from their Solin. Still, that burst damage applies against these strength heroes. Does fall off somewhat. A nice pin coming out from our Rubik. Not too sure how that, I feel like that was very long range. Must have been on the edge of the spear, but they do get the pin, and again, strength heroes, they just melt.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
E-Blade completed for our Morphling. That's going to be very good against the PA, especially until the PA gets the BKB, which is going to be the next item, and it has to be. I don't think you can get away with any later of a BKB, and we're already seeing those survivability issues. Once again, Forest going to be going for that bottom lane. Got Solin tanking it up. Got the siege creep, they will be able to take that one down. I think it's quite clear that map control is in favor of Forest. They've only lost 2 towers so far. But taking down that bottom tier 2 especially gives them so much access into the jungle.
This should make my life easier.
They've got some very nice aggressive vision set up as well. So if they go for any smokes afterwards, there's a good chance they are able to find a target. And we see a circle being drawn. We want to play around this area. Bottom side of the map is pretty much foregone. At the same time, though, Forest, they're quite close to having the BKB on PA. I think it makes sense to just slow down the game a tiny bit and wait for that. Only a couple hundred gold away. Farm so fast. With the Empower anyway. Yule Scepter here for the setup. Magnus, he does get taken down. Stormspirit going in very deep. This is very risky. Flyby, he will be able to use that ultimate. Catching Lich in here. Nowhere for Lich to go. Just throws out a Desperation Chain Frost. And Yogi, likewise, they're just getting picked apart here. And again, I don't blame Forest. They were just waiting for their PA's BKB. The rest of their team getting cooled while that was happening. SAG finding a very good time to fight. Now the TP is coming in. They want to deal with Solin. Yule Scepter for the setup. They will be able to get the pin on the stun. But Timbersaw here, he's got a lot of those charges. He can't actually get off the hood in time. That's a very big mistake. I actually think he might be able to survive that if he used all of his actives. Just that extra bit of HP, extra bit of magic damage block that you get from the hood. If he could use the Lotus Orb earlier, that would also mean, say the Yule's gets reflected. And if the Mars is Yule's, he can't get that perfect pin. Likewise, you're reducing the damage of the Storm Spirit while he pulls you in, because he gets pulled in as well. And I truly think he might have been able to survive there, and that would have been so much time wasted from SAG on 5 heroes. But instead, because they get that kill, they're able to walk freely into the enemy jungle. They're able to place down a nice ward. A ward is going to be pinged out. I think it's very obvious that the ward was going to be there. But even just showing heroes to kill a ward, that is very significant. Now the BKB is up. And so it makes a lot of sense for Forest to group up here. They have a fairly good way of taking that Roshan. They can take it relatively quickly if they win a fight. But surprisingly, they're not the ones smoking up. It's actually going to be SAG trying to make use of that aggressive vision they placed down earlier. Not going to be finding anyone just yet, however. And the pings come out. The call has been made to go for Roche. We're going to be hunting down a couple of couriers, which are trying to spot that out. That's something we're seeing more and more, as couriers are not nearly as valuable now being shared. I think with one courier made it pretty much impossible to do that. But if you're not waiting for an item timing, why not just chuck the courier in bit, get some extra vision? It's a relatively cheap cost to be giving up over to the enemy. Now Forest going for smoke of their own. They've got their double BKB. They're going to get right onto the Storm Spirit. They won't even need the RP. Just so much damage coming out from our Phantom Assassin. I think our Storm really does need Shiva's Guard. And the best part is they didn't need to use their BKB, so it's still got a 10-second BKB on the Phoenix. And ET is pretty good when it comes to interfering with Roshan, so they're going to get right onto the enemy. They know they can't actually get that Roche, so they're just going to go for the engagement here. Very big arena of blood, as well as the egg on top of it. RP is used, but they have to disengage, otherwise they would be sitting under that egg. And so that's a lot of cooldowns traded, but fundamentally SAG playing down a member, they were forced to use a lot of buybacks in order to hold on. Now, can they get into the pit? It would all be worth it if they can secure an Aegis. Of course, Forest not going to be giving that up. Not without a fight. Still waiting on the BKBs to come off cooldown. Big crit onto Flyby. But a big zip in. They want to go right for this PA. They know he does. No, he actually does have the BKB. They can't burst him down with the E-Blade. So far, no one dead just yet, but forcing out BKBs is something. But I actually thought they'd get a clean kill. I thought the Phantom Assassin already used that BKB, but apparently that was not the case. And now we're pretty much just reset back to the state where both teams are waiting for the cooldowns on their ultimates. It's going to be SAG making the first move. And this is perhaps where the vision they planted earlier can pay off. Very aggressive link in, going blind. Solan is controlled, but he's not actually dead. He's able to survive for a very long time. Lich, though, not nearly as tanky. And Solan, we'll see if he can survive. He was able to use the Lotus Orb this time around. Storm Spirit still going in, but Solan is starting to get a lot of those reactive armor stacks and deleting the Morphling. Morphling goes in. He didn't even get RP. He just went in full Agi and got crit down. And I mean, Storm Spirit went so deep, still could not take down Solan. I think they actually had a good chance of bursting him down, but the fact that he got the Lotus Orb off, again, it's those little things, less DPS from the Storm while he's disabling Solan, and the result is as you see. Forest, they only lose their Lich. That's the dream scenario here. Able to take down Roshan finally. And it's starting to look very grim here for SAG. Net worth has been even for most of this game. But that last engagement, the engagement before expending 2 buybacks on both supports, that really does hurt. And look at where our Elder Titan is. 2.6k net worth compared to 5.5k on our Lich. He's literally half net worth of the next poorest hero in the game. Flyby, going to be hit up by the Yule Scepter. He's got to use off his own. He will be able to get his ultimate off, but that doesn't really mean anything. In fact, using the ultimate might have been a very big mistake, because now Yogi was able to pick that up. He was able to pick up the Arena of Blood. Oh no, worst case scenario here for SAG. And they're going to be losing towers. They're going to be losing a lot of towers, if not losing Raxes.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
The bounty which my matriarch will prize.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack. Radiant's middle tower is under attack. Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Strength renewed, purpose with it.
Yeah, Earth Splitter there. It's got the magical damage and the physical damage component. And Solon very good at tanking both of those. Forest playing it slow, only going for that tier 2 tower. Absolutely could be threatening high ground right now. But they're not going to go for anything too big there. They do have some time left on the stage, just around 2 minutes. And they have been holding on to that RP. And I think if they can spot out any of these cores, they will be able to commit that RP and get a kill pretty easily. And, you know, Flyby, we're seeing just falling it behind in farm means he doesn't have items such as BKB. Means he's very easy pickings. Phoenix down.
What I miss?
Forest still looking for more kills. We're seeing this a lot from Chinese teams. When they get ahead, when they got an Aegis, they're not necessarily looking to finish the game. They're not necessarily looking to go for objectives. Instead, going for these fights. And Kaigo with the BKB. No way to slow him down. Morphling able to TP out of here. RP used on absolutely nothing. But I'm not too sure it matters. They've already taken down the Phoenix on the other side of the map. Able to take down 2 cores now. And how are you ever going to fight back when your only core alive is the Morphling? It's only a matter of time until Flyby gets taken down. Whirling Death will finish him off. And Kaigo, this whole time, he's been holding on to the Aegis. He's been getting so many kills. Interestingly enough, going for the Kaya and Sanj on the Timbersaw. Now with the Sanj, you benefit a lot from the healing amplification, but there's already a Spirit Vessel on the enemy side. The Morphling actually going to be turning around for a Manta style. Normally you wouldn't really want to get this item, but because there's an Orchid on the Magnus, you want to have a way of dealing with that without having to use your BKB. Now Aegis is going to expire. Forest, for the most part, were only able to get 2 towers out of that, so not the best deal if you look at objectives, but they were able to get a lot of kills. They were able to extend their net worth lead. Interestingly enough, our Phoenix is going for a Refresher Orb. And it's true that we've seen a lot of eggs pop, but I mean, Refresher Orb plus the egg takes most of your mana. Going for a smoke up here. Smoke going to be broken by the Phantom Assassin. Phantom Assassin goes in with that BKB and the egg. We'll see if they can actually finish it off. Looks like that will be the case. And without the egg, Flyby. I mean, how do you sit and fight inside your ultimate? He's forced to back away there. Morphling, feared up, will finally use that BKB. But BKB there, not really being put to good use. He's only looking to disengage. And the Storm Spirit goes in once again. Ay. I mean, our Storm this entire game really has been struggling. A lot of deaths on this hero. RP lands onto 2. And they've got Solon, they've got Kaigo. Plenty of damage to follow up. And that's going to be it. That's going to be GG. First 10-15 minutes was very even, but Forest, once they got ahead, they stayed ahead. And this does seem to be a very stereotypical Chinese game. Sort of when one team falls behind, they're not quite sure what to do. They sort of just slowly get picked apart. One kill there, one kill here, and then lose a big team fight. Lose an Aegis, and the game just sort of snowballs. And it felt like Forest. It was their game to lose from 20 minutes on, and they're able to take that one quite easily. This is the first of 4 matches they have to play today, but momentum looking pretty good for them. We'll see if they can finish off the series in just a second. completed, we did get that refresh on the cooldowns. That's always very significant. But for the most part, Forest were still able to disengage, even if they weren't able to kill it. But we're changing things up here. We've got that Slardar coming in, and when you see the Slardar, you have to think about all those right-clicking physical damage cores. But another hero who does pretty much the same thing is the Ogre. You buff up the attack speed, and you also have to think about those right-clicking physical damage cores. The difference being that the Ogre is a support, the Slaughter is a core most of the time.
10 seconds remaining.
But picking the Ogre, again, it's just bonus attack speed, makes a lot of sense against the Phoenix. Whereas the Slaughter, perhaps, with that minus armor, is better when it comes to taking down Roshan, when it comes to taking down certain tankier heroes. Very decisive bans coming out from SAG, taking down the Drow Ranger, I think makes a lot of sense. But the Troll Boiler's a bit of a more interesting one.
5 seconds
Magnus is still in the pool. I think that could be a pretty good pickup for either of these teams. And Forest, they ran the Magnus relatively successfully. So I don't see why they wouldn't run that this time around. Goes quite well with the Ogre, in my opinion, especially because you can pick up heroes such as the Phantom Assassin. Phantom Assassin, by selecting that, you would be denying from SAG as well. We used to see the PA sort of as a counter pick in some ways to counter, say, an anti-mage. But not going to be happening this time around. Forest taking a lot of time to decide, but they will eventually take that PA out of the pool. Magnus is still in there. And it's actually Forest who get to pick first.
10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
Once again, we do actually see Forest taking 2 supports in phase 1. But I think Mirana as well as Ogre are fairly all-rounded as supports go. They don't have any real weaknesses, I want to say. They're strong in lane, they can scale into later stages, and they're sort of always useful, especially when it comes to killing a Phoenix egg. And that's unlike showing, say, a Rubik early on. You know that there's certain heroes that you're just not going to pick against a Rubik.
Radiant team pick.
Treant Protector, going to be taken out of the pool. Treant plus Phoenix, a very well-known combination. And we are probably going to be seeing a little more team fight, a little more oomph to go with that Phoenix egg. The Slaughter with the initiation is not bad, but it's nothing like a Mars. Void Spirit coming out. Again, these are very all-round general-purpose heroes that we see from Void. No real weaknesses in any of these heroes.
Seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
Mars, I think, is a possibility once again for SAG. Magnus is still okay.
Radiant team pick.
We're going to see the Bane come out here. That's an interesting one. It's a very good way to control a Void Spirit. Void Spirit, I mean, like all of the Spirit Brothers, if you're not able to get a very long stun, if you're not able to chain the stun,
Remaining.
then you have a bit of a problem
5 seconds remaining.
as the Void Spirit. But at the same time, you're picking into, say, a Mirana. And the Mirana, I mean, if the Bane is channeling the Fiend's Grip, it's very easy to get an arrow off. Queen of Pain coming out here from Forest, this is very interesting. Does imply it's going to be a Void Spirit off lane. And these are two very high mobility heroes, a lot of aggressive potential. And in the mid game, they could just explode.
5 seconds remaining.
But also means that they're relatively low in that team fight department. Don't really have the best initiators. And mobility, that sort of surprise factor can be an initiator in a way, but especially once BKBs start coming out, I think you might have some problems. So definitely looking for Forest to pick up a core who maybe has some stuns, maybe Sven. Anti-Mage coming in, that's going to shake things up quite a bit. That's going to change things quite a bit. So far, you have the Ogre, who has that targeted Sun. Anti-Mage very good against that. But the Queen of Pain, say, with an Orchid is perhaps a different story. If you get the Orchid before the Anti-Mage gets his Manta style. Sort of blink into the Orchid. It's instant cast as long as he doesn't have vision of you before the blink. But generally speaking, AM is good against the Queen of Pain. Obviously, you're a spellcaster in hero. And the Anti-Mage is one of the few that can match the mobility of a Quap. Similar story with the Void Spirit there. So I don't mind this pick at all. There's a lot of magic damage on the side of Forest.
Remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
Taking out the Terrorblade, I think, makes a lot of sense. Against the Anti-Mage, you're generally looking just to end the game as soon as possible. Now, that's unless you can try and outscale the AM, but I think with the Void Spirit and the Queen of Pain, perhaps looking a little hard. Illusion heroes tend to do well against the Bane, because you can just have your Illusion take off the sleep, and that's why we see the Naga Siren taken out of the picture. But when you ban out that Viper, it really does make me think Forest want to be going for the Spectre. And the Spectre is not the endgame early type hero, it definitely is more of the let's try and outscale the Anti-Mage hero. And if they do go for the Spectre, then obviously Forest are going to be looking to get very aggressive on the other four. Which does fit that draft, does fit the idea. And then you just have the Spectre come in with a Haunt if need be. And Spectre against the Anti-Mage. If your team can force out the blink and you can Haunt in with the Spectre, get right on top of that, that can be a decent matchup as well. But no, they go for the Legion Commander. That's not what I expected. So that's going to be a Legion Commander off lane. And Kaigo playing the Quap, does that mean a safe lane Queen of Pain? My goodness. Now Queen of Pain into Ember Spirit. If Ember Spirit is able to use his spells perfectly, this is actually a very Ember favored lane. But that's only if you can consistently dodge spells using Sleight of Fist. Whereas the Void Spirit versus Ember, it's a bit of a toss-up. And we've seen either hero win that lane, including getting solo kills every now and then. So it's a very skill-dependent matchup. We will see. We will see. And we're going to be loading in here. We'll see if the lanes are indeed as I said. Now, the LC is a very aggressive option. It's a very nice solution to the anti-mage. Not to mention the Ember Spirit, if you can actually catch him out in time. It's a bit hard when the Ember has Remnants out. But I am somewhat concerned about the fact that there's a Bane on the other side of things. It's a bit awkward when the Bane puts the Nightmare on any of the dual targets, because it kind of just ends up bouncing back and forth. Now, it is possible to take that off if one of your allies attacks. It's also possible to completely get rid of any CC in this game using the Legion Commander's Purge. Obviously, you can't do that while you're dueling someone.
30 seconds to battle.
But we do have the relatively new mechanic of press the attack being cast upon the winner of the duel. And that can be a good way of dealing with a Fiend script from the Bane, of course, provided that your team is somehow able to help you win that duel. And Forest, especially from the Queen of Pain, I mean, they do have some decent follow-up damage.
Battle begins.
We'll see how it goes. I think it's also very obvious that Forest are on a bit of a timer. They don't have a good matchup into the anti-mage once he gets super fed. And that really is going to be the story of this game, is can we shut down the anti-mage? And it's quite likely that the answer is yes. LC is a great counter. But you still need to get a blink at a good timing, or at least a Shadow Blade. And lots of things need to come together. Mid lane, definitely one to keep an eye on. Interestingly enough, Amon going for the level 1 Dissimulate. That's going to allow him to secure some CS, but it means he can't trade that effectively without the Resonant Pulse. I think even going to Simulate level 1, you are going to max out the Resonant Pulse. It's just such a powerful spell. It just allows you to tank up. And of course, secure last hits on a much lower cooldown than the Simulate. The Simulate level 1, low levels in general, is a very long cooldown. If not mistaken, it gets shortened quite significantly with levels. Now, top lane, I think Solon should have a decent time once you get Moment of Courage. Wouldn't be surprised if he maxes that out. You can be very effective against the anti-mage trading. He takes away all your mana, means he doesn't do that much damage. And if he doesn't do that much damage per right click, there's just no way he's going to win that trade. And if you really do need mana later on, we probably will be seeing a Soul Ring coming out from Solon, so no issues there either. Now, both the Bane and the Mirana are very good at trading right clicks. Mirana has the advantage when it comes to just the right clicks. But then you have the healing, which can come out from the Bane at level 2 Brain Tap. Once you hit level 3 on the hero is obviously very nice. Literally doubles the damage and the heal. Bottom lane, First Blood going to be onto our Phoenix. And as the Phoenix, if you get chased down after the Icarus dive, you really don't have any defense whatsoever, and Queen of Pain with a blink is a hero that is pretty good at chasing down Phoenixes. And Quap, generally speaking, is a very strong laner. In the side lane, however, means you don't get that much EXP. We'll see how that works out for him. Of course, as the Queen of Pain, getting extra farm is always nice. Oh, arrow landing here. Got the movement speed. And Solon will be able to take that kill. And Legion Commander, naturally a snowbally hero just from the duel. And so getting her off to a good start, that obviously helps. And Yogi, I mean, he's free to be here, arrowing creeps. He's going to get a lot of efficiency out of this lane. Bottles coming out from both of our mid laners. Securing the whatever rune spawns at 4 minutes is obviously very big. Worth pointing out that both mid laners can rotate very early on. Once they hit level 6, the side lanes, they do have to be careful. And again, Anti-Mage, he's having so many issues trading. He's looking to buy up a lot of regen. But Solon, completely out of mana. He does not mind this whatsoever. I can actually trade 1 versus 2 if you're both hitting me. And what's the issue? Mirana moving into that river to try and secure the rune. And we do see both of our mid laners making their way bottom. Bit of an advantage for these stones here. Arrow comes out, only hits a creep. Turns out the rune is top anyway. It's going to be a 2 versus 3. Not a fair fight if you're our Ember Spirit. And that's of course because they kept the Bane up top. September, Gunby will dive on forward. Gunby will deny the rune. Amon is extremely low, but he wants to be able to punish this Phoenix. Phoenix healing up with a salve. Without the Icarus dive, he can be very vulnerable. Is going to move in onto that 8th Remnant, but Amon missing on the Dissimulate. He will be to take that kill with the right clicks, but here comes the Bane. He's looking for the deny. It's not going to happen. And that's actually not bad for our Ember Spirit. Despite dying, he will get a free wave. He will be able to shove it in and deny a full wave into the Void Spirit as well. And Solon here, literally 1 versus 2, no problems. He's going to be able to grab the Bounty Rune as well. Kaigo here, trying to contest the Rune, and he's used his mobility aggressively, so he can't use it defensively. Another couple of seconds, he won't be able to survive. And that generally is how it goes with these heroes. Yes, you're high mobility, but it is a significant cooldown. Every single blink, every single Icarus dive does count. Solon here, neck and neck with the Anti-Mage in CS. And you can't say that the AM hasn't been shut down, but I think just knowing that LC has a good matchup into the AM is enough. September here taking a lot of damage, will be able to dive to safety. No one getting taken down just yet. We do have a lot of regen coming out from our Slaughter. He's going to be going for the casual hood. That's going to allow him to stay in lane. That's similar to our Anti-Mage going for 2 rings of regen and 1 ring of health. And their quad being under level, I mean 6 minutes in, you would expect a mid laner to be level 6 that have their ultimates, and that is the case for both our mid laners, but the Queen of Pain just a step behind them. And we'll see how this mid lane develops. I really expect them to go into the side lanes. I think it's very hard to commit for a full-on kill for either of these, and we are going to be seeing that. We are going to be seeing the TP up top. LC not level 6 quite yet, but he is going to be able to get out onto the AM. They go for an easier target. They know it's a pretty much guaranteed kill against the Bane. And I think they actually had a chance of chasing down the AM, but it wasn't a certain kill. They're just going to let him go. They're going to go for what they know they can take. Arrow comes out from the stun. Kaigo is here. But he's actually not following through with the blink just yet. They're instead going to try and focus down Flyby, but the counter TP there. Void TP's up top. Ember TP's down bottom, and it looks like Ember has the better chance of cleaning up these kills. He's got a fair bit of mana left, but he won't commit. He could have tried, but again, it's you're not guaranteed to find kills if you go in with your remnants and you can't go out. But we are seeing a lot of action. Flyby gets gone on too many slows on him. He is going to get taken down. Kaigo's still not level 6. Otherwise, these stones might be in a bit of trouble. Going to be rotating into the mid lane. They've got the Bane for the setup. And into the root here. They will be able to use the mobility, but of course, being chased on forward. Can Anon survive? These stones really committing here. Is going to be eating the ultimate from the Queen of Pain, finally being online. He is going to fall to the right clicks, but at least they're able to get aim on as well. Kaigo going in very aggressive. That's been the case this entire game. He will be able to take down the Phoenix. Very nice of his Ogre to take that Nightmare from him. That's going to be a win for Forest, picking up 2 kills at the price of 1. Then again, Forest, they have to be doing this. They have to be ahead. They have to be the ones dictating the pace of the game. Otherwise, the anti-mage is just going to outscale you hard.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
So then we'll see what build he goes for. I think the Blink Dagger is pretty standard here. Anti-Mage going for 2 rings of health. Sorry, 2 rings of regen. Does slow his item build down somewhat. He is going to get dueled up here. Do they have enough damage? It's going to be very close. But he will die to the tower mid-cast off that blink. If he blinks away, I think he's absolutely fine. Solon actually got a bit unlucky, I think, with the Moment of Courage procs. I don't think he got nearly as many as he should have, but they still were able to get that kill, timing it perfectly using the fog of the Ogre, and that's very smooth play coming out here from Forest. I don't have that many ultimates up. We should have the Sonic Wave soon. And Forest, ideally, they want to be going for non-stop action. Once again, we're seeing the stun as the setup here into the duel. But we're seeing the interaction of that sleep. So when he can't finish off, he barely deals any damage here. And with these stones coming in, they're looking pretty good to chase down this. But no, they don't have detection. They ran out of detection there. That's a bit of a shame. I think that was a guaranteed kill otherwise. But hey, Moonlight Shadow, good spell. Not only you get invisibility, but you also get a fair bit of bonus movement speed as well. And that could come in big later on when it comes to chasing down these kills. You've got very mobile heroes on both teams, and sort of matching blink for blink is not guaranteed. If you get that extra bit of movement speed, that might be what you need. Kaigo's got that Sonic Wave back up. We've got the other duel coming up here. Duel is actually a relatively short cooldown for its power. This entire time, Anti-Mage farming in the jungle, he knows they're going to be gunning for him. But in terms of manpower, that just means they're down a hero. He's not going to be able to join fights. 3 heroes into the top lane. If they had an easy setup with an arrow, I'm sure they would go for it. Flyby, he is actually coming forward, looking for the bash onto Kaigo. He will find it. We've got another bash coming up in just 1 second. Kaigo will be able to blink out. They have the Sonic Wave to finish off that kill. Arrow very easy into Fiend's Grip. It will still be able to take down Loss. That's a support for a core. And now we've got the Blink Dagger coming out from our Legion Commander very early on. Probably going to go for a smoke up. If they can find a duel, they've got a lot of follow-up coming in from the Queen of Pain, from the Void Spirit. We'll see if Forest can indeed play that up-tempo game that they desperately need to pull off against the AM. And for our AM, it's not going to be a super fast battle for you, but it's at decent timing. Taunting in the AM, he gets destroyed by the Void. Okay, wow. I did not expect that to happen. I didn't even expect Amon to try. But of course, our anti-mage was thinking the same thing. Just misjudging the power of the Void Spirit. And that's big. That's very big, delaying that Battle Fury even further. At this rate, it's looking like a 16-17 minute Battle Fury, actually. And the pressure on him is going to be non-stop. SAG, I think. Their other heroes are going to need to play very aggressively. They're going to need to try and match the movement of Forest.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
That was the Blink Dagger reveal from our LC. Somehow still not getting any dual wins. Has been a part of a great many kills, but they don't quite have the damage to finish them off in time. Queen of Pain going for the Orchid. That's always very nice against the AM if you can blink onto him in time. If he sees you coming, it's a very easy spell shield blink out and you'll never be able to kill him. In fact, it could be dangerous if you silence yourself and the anti-mage is not silenced. He might be able to turn around and kill you. So it is sort of a double-edged sword, a high-risk, high-reward type item. But I mean, unless I see him mess up, I don't see any reason why he can't go for this. And it does feel, again, like a repeat of so many Chinese games that we've seen. Forest, they get ahead. They're not really going for tower pushes, not really going for these 5-man smoke plays. But they're still able to get kills here, pickoffs here and there. Fiend's Grip onto the Void Spirit is not going to be enough to hold him in. He gets to Dissimulate onto the high ground, does have a couple of Astral Step charges as well. No, I don't mind this. They are trying to fight. Nightmare going to lead into a very easy crush. Big Sonic Wave hits 5 heroes. Do they have the fallout damage? Yes, they do. But Amon, he's found himself in a bit of a tough spot. Doesn't have any more Astral Step charges. And using Dissimulate for damage means... Well, you can't use this. Simple there. Solon finally taking his first dual win. He's probably going to be TPing into the mid lane or looking for a wraparound if he can find an opportunity. But once again, SAG, just the Chinese syndrome here. Not going for towers, not going for objectives, instead valuing kills. And as a result, 15 minutes in, we've only seen one tower fall. And you can say that, in terms of an objective, getting your AM farmed is something. I suppose that's what they're gunning for now. Our Slaughter, it's a very roundabout way to do it, but he is going to be going for that Blink Dagger eventually. Blink Dagger going to be allowing SAG to fight somewhat on even terms. But without that, I think it's quite clear that Forest are always going to be the ones on the aggression. It's going to be a 15.5-minute Battle Fury coming online at the same time as the Orchid, so maybe our Queen of Pain will be able to get aggressive here. We'll be able to take out our Anti-Mage. 4 heroes grouping in the bottom lane for SAG. I don't mind this whatsoever. If they're the ones forcing the enemy to react into them, it means that they're not killing the Anti-Mage. Ogre Magi TPing into the bottom lane. Looks like the call is to try and defend. They can always TP in the Legion Commander as well. Preemptive Sentry being placed in case they Moonlight Shadow, and that is indeed the case. We'll see what our Moonlight Shadow can find. This is a 4 versus 5 fight. Legion Commander not finding the duel just yet. Egg in a very good position. A bit late to try and focus this down. It's going to be a very big egg pop. Actually, no one gets hit by that. No one dead so far. We are going to be seeing the duel coming out onto the Slaughter. They can't actually take him down though. Again, no dual damage thanks to the sleep, thanks to the Nightmare. I think they will be able to chase down the Slaughter eventually. But that's not quite the overwhelming victory that Forest were hoping for the entire time. Anti-Mage free farming top, and losing your Slaughter, probably the worst kill you can lose in that moment because he's still saving up for the Blink Dagger. But otherwise, I think you can be okay with that, especially if you get an exit kill like that. SAG very happy with that turn of events. That is, unless their Anti-Mage dies on the other side of the map, and that did actually happen. Whoops. I'm sorry, Mr. Anti-Mage. That suddenly makes it a very good fight for Forest. And that is the power of the Orchid against an AM that does not have a Manta style. Very hard to react. I mean, in theory, if you're scripting, that should never happen, but obviously our Anti-Mage is not scripting here. It's a bit delayed, but SAG are able to get that blink, so maybe these fights will go better for them. And Duel has done a lot of work for the other side. We've got the Legion Commander with the blink. He's the primary initiator for his team. But of course, the matter of fact is, he has not been able to win that many duels. Generally speaking, Phoenix is pretty good against LC because you can reduce the attack speed, you can get the heals going with the Sunray. 2 very easy targets, both for the healing as well as the damage. And we've seen that Bane with the sleep multiple times very powerful as well. But I think in this case, you're not looking to the LC for damage, you're looking to the LC for control, and you're hoping that your other heroes can deal the damage in your stead. Big smoke up here. Flyby, he's got that blink, we'll see what he can find. Void Spirit, pretty good target, but smoke will get broken. Amon able to get out before he gets caught, and now Moonlight Shadow, all the heroes TPing on in. Forest, they're going to be going for a counter kill. They get the duel out onto the Ember. That's a very nice kill. No supports nearby to save him. Now 4 versus 5, they're going to be chasing on forward. We've got the double silence coming out here onto the Bane. Can't quite finish him off though. Bane will be able to turn around, will not be able to get the sleep however. Academ Scepter and Void gives you 2 charges off that Resonant Pulse silence. And we'll be able to pick up another kill here. And their anti-mage, I mean, he's back to farming, but he is spotted out by a ward. He is going to get silenced once again. We'll see if they have the damage this time around. Oh, that's a nasty arrow, making sure he can't blink out. And Forest, they're doing it. It's a very, knife's edge type game for them. Just status quo, just sitting back is not going to work. They have to be constantly going for these fights, but winning fights on the bottom side of the map and then picking off the anti-mage afterwards, it's working pretty darn well for them. And it's not these big, massive, full team wipe type situations, but SAG getting picked apart here. And that net worth lead. It's not absolutely insane here from Forest, but it is steadily growing. I think something that SAG can be glad about is that Forest don't have the best heroes when it comes to taking down Roshan. In fact, they're pretty awful at killing Rosh. Otherwise, an Aegis in the hands of, say, a Queen of Pain would be very hard to deal with because she can go in hyper aggressively. Now, we're going to be seeing that counter smoke once again from SAG, but they don't have all of their teammates together. The Ember Spirit is not here. Arrow going to be spotting out that TP. And maybe that's a bit suspicious. I mean, we'll see. Amon, who's thinking of going in. They're thinking it's a very easy assassination on to some of these heroes, but they're playing it safe for now. And in fact, with that smoke dissipating, they should have a very good idea of what is going on. Just hiding in the trees with Solon. If he gets Fiend Script, you can purge it off with Press the Attack. Now it looks like SAG, they're just trying to farm up the BKB. Trying to bait with the anti-mage here. Amon TPing up top, he's got the silence. Perhaps trying to ambush the Ember Spirit, but the Ember Spirit going to be walking back to base. One more neutral camp, I think, and you'll have that BKB. But BKB's galore coming out here. Anti-mage. He is farming. Can they catch him out? They've got the silence here from the Axe. Still no Manta. Nice arrow, but here comes the Slaughter. Slaughter with the counter initiation. Fiend Scrape as well. They take down Amon. No press the attack available. Legion Commander is coming in. Is going to find the link with the Blade Mail onto the Bane. And the Bane Sunray is not strong enough to heal him back up just yet. But elsewhere, Queen of Pain goes in with that BKB arrow landing onto the Ember Spirit. A lot of mid-action arrows coming out here from Yogi. He will get the press the attack. He will be able to survive. And they should have the attack speed to take down the Egg here as well. And this is as close to a disaster as could happen for SAG. They keep their anti-mage alive, but that is it. A pretty close team fight there at the end of the day. Forest not having all of their members together at the start, but having the vision on the high ground really did help, allowing the LC to get right onto that Bane. And Bane, he himself is not that strong of a hero, but that extra bit of utility, being able to deny dual wins, having that Fiend's Grip, all these things do matter. And it's kind of like having a Dazzle. You don't really want to be dueling the Dazzle, but if you don't duel the Dazzle, he'll just save you. Save his ally from the duel. So it makes sense to go for the Bane first. And that net worth lead, it just keeps on growing. We're now up to 9k. Interesting choice coming out to go for the Desolator. I was thinking that he probably would be going for something along the lines of BKB, but no. Desolator is the choice. Obviously gives him a lot more damage, and it has surprising synergy with Blade Mail. Because with the Blade Mail, you're mostly going to be reflecting physical damage when the enemy's taunted, when he's attacking you. Physical damage amplified by that minus armor. Going for another very aggressive play. It's actually Flyby who starts the initiation, but the counter initiation is very good there. Silences galore. Anti-Mage joining the fray as well, but he's just not that confident. He's not that farmed. He's going to have to blink out. And their LC is sweeping around. Is going to be able to... No, cannot get the duel off. They will be able to take down the Bane regardless. Finding the duel now onto the Phoenix. Just a very easy cleanup. And SAG, once again, they're getting picked apart. They've fallen behind, and everything that they try just doesn't seem to go well. When I was talking about the slow Roshan, that was pre-Desolator. With the Desolator, it's actually not that slow at all. Queen of Pain going to be scaling into the right click. Is going to be going for an AC as well, and that is very nice. Again, a lot of synergy with the Desolator getting this minus armor out. And Forest, despite not having that clear right-click core, they are making up for it in terms of their item builds. Void Sprig getting caught out here. Does not have any real defensive tools. But he will be able to survive for now. He's got a lot of mobility. In fact, turning things around onto the Slordar. Amon is still very low. They've got vision. But that LC with the duel, with that Desolator, it's so much damage. And the Anti-Mage is literally hitting himself. He's literally hitting himself with that Blade Mail. BKB finally being used here. But BKB does not protect you against physical damage. You're going to have a blink from LC in just a second. 2 right clicks, though, cannot do it. They get the stun follow-up. 1 more right click, and Solan, he will be able to finish the job. And again, it's a very bad scenario for SAG. They will be able to even up 1 kill. It's not a small kill onto Amon, but it's a very disheartening consolation prize, frankly. Kaigo scaling into that right click core. He's top of net worth. Gonna be going for these towers. And with the Aegis on the Quap, especially because you have the BKB, respawning from an Aegis with a BKB is not a problem whatsoever. Does mean that your first life, you have to save that BKB. It can be a bit dicey. SAG, they're trying to go for a kill here, but... And no, not without the Anti-Mage, not without the Ember Spirit. Solan is going to get gone on, but he's able to purge off the Midas Armor just fine. Does not have the rest of his team here just yet. Queen of Pain goes in, does get a kill onto the Phoenix before he can get that egg off. That is massive. Now Kaigo, he's used that BKB. He cannot afford to die. If he dies, he won't have that BKB. That is exactly what's going to happen. Ooh, Ember Spirit barely not able to dodge out that arrow. Means that the Queen of Pain will be able to get away. I think with that, SAG, they have to disengage. Anti-Mage, he's hanging around. This could be absolutely massive. To get the silence out onto him, he does not have the Mantis. How he can't get out. Manta finally coming off cooldown, but it's just a little bit too late. Very unfortunate there. SAG losing their AM time and time again. And he really is their win condition. No Anti-Mage farming means no hope of winning. And now 16k net worth down. Forest, it's not been a super clean game from them. It's been very scrappy. Lots of kills traded back and forth, but consistently Forest edging out slightly. 1 hero for 2, 2 heroes for free. And importantly, they're getting kills onto the Anti-Mage. I think it's perfectly okay to be bleeding out a kill or 2 more as long as your AM is not involved, as long as he's top of net worth, but he is very far from top of net worth right now. Actually, 3k net worth behind the Queen of Pain, and that's just not where you want to be. Queen of Pain scaling into a right-click core is not going to do poorly against the AM either. Normally, you think of Quap as a spellcaster. It gets countered very hard by the Anti-Mage. I mean, of course. But this game, maybe not so much. Bit of a gamble for Forest to go for the last pick on the Legion Commander, but it's been working out pretty well. Smoke on smoke here. And generally, smoke on smoke in these very chaotic situations favors the team who's ahead, favors the team that doesn't need any fancy footwork. And the LC is a perfect example of that. Well, we'll get bashed up first. It comes out in a pretty good position. But it does appear that Forest can successfully disengage, and they've lost the Bane on SAG. No egg means they have to get out. Duel still available. Can we find a good target for the duel? Not quite yet. But they will be able to secure that eventually. 140 duel damage here on our Queen of Pain. Sorry, not the Queen of Pain, on the Legion Commander. And the Queen of Pain with the DD really hits hard. And just from the items as well, you don't really think about it, but Orchid does give you a minor increase to DPS. It's made out of 2 quarterstaffs. Now they've got the anti-mage here very low. It will be taken down with that right-click damage once again. And the Queen of Pain showing no mercy, blinking on forward. No one can escape her wrath. She's just so mobile. Aim on as well. Bit low on mana, so might be a bit hard to chase this one down. Bit of a waste in time. Mindbreaker is going to be there though. Phoenix will fall eventually. Meanwhile, Solon getting onto this tower. With the Desolator, he does hurt quite a bit. Goes in with the duel. Blade Mail, very effective item. But so is the Nightmare. They will still be able to get the kill with the Ogre's intervention, however. That's 170 duel damage on our Legion Commander. Rapier, if I'm not mistaken, is 240 damage. And so we're literally looking at... actually, no. It's 330 attack damage on the Rapier. Okay. So we're looking at half a Rapier here. Not bad. Not bad. Diala GG, if I'm not mistaken. And that's going to be it. 27k behind at 30 minutes in. Is that high watermark? It's pretty much unwinnable. Forest with a bit of an unorthodox draft, not going for a particularly coherent team composition, but countering out the enemy heroes perfectly. And they're able to take that clean 2-0 sweep. Now they do have a game coming up immediately after this. That's going to be played up against Access. It's more Chinese Dota here in the Artisan Dota League. So that's going to be coming up in roughly 20 minutes. Let's go take a break, go get a drink. And we'll be back with more Dota action.